Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's episode, we're going to be revisiting the leaked build of Windows 11 that I recently demonstrated in this video up in the cards, which you can go check out if you happen to miss that one. But yes, for those of you who don't know, a build of Windows 11 has leaked, and in that video I took a look at it. We went through the new features, the changes that Microsoft made. Today though, we're going to be trying to install that leaked build on real hardware. This is an HP Compact 6510B, as you can see right up there, and it is an unsupported machine. Now the reason I say unsupported in quotation marks is because that's actually what the installer says. If you try to install Windows 11 on this machine, it will come up with an error message that says this machine is not supported, or this machine cannot run Windows 11, something to that effect. Now there is a workaround to this problem, and we're going to be trying that and seeing if we can get Windows 11 to install. Now in terms of specifications, this machine has an Intel Core 2 Duo T7300 running at 2 GHz and 1 GB of RAM. Now you might say, oh, maybe that error message is caused by the amount of RAM that the machine has, as it clearly doesn't meet Windows 10 64 bits minimum requirement. Now we're using Windows 10's specs here because since this is a leaked build, we don't have any official documentation to go by in terms of Windows 11's minimum system requirements, but I would assume they're going to be somewhat similar to Windows 10's, except for the fact that Windows 11, at least I expect it to not have a 32-bit version. You may have noticed that the leaked build of Windows 11 is 64-bit only, and that is not by itself any proof that the final release of Windows 11 will also be 64-bit only. However, in May of 2020, Microsoft stopped shipping copies of the 32-bit release of Windows 10 to OEMs, essentially saying that all new computers from here on out that OEMs wanted to install Windows on, which is most, would have to be 64-bit. And this right here really doubles as a confirmation about the status of 32-bit Windows 11, as it would be really strange if Microsoft, after doing this, turned around and said, oh yeah, now Windows 11 is going to have a 32-bit release. So the point is, we have to go by Windows 10 64 bits system requirements, and no, the error message that we see here has nothing to do with the amount of RAM. In fact, I was able to install Windows 11 on 1 GB of RAM in a VM just fine. So why are we getting this error message here? Well, it has to do with this machine's lack of support for TPM, or Trusted Platform Module 2.0. This particular build here requires it, and it's possible that the final release of Windows 11 will as well. A simple workaround is to replace the appraiser.res.dll file in the sources folder on your installation media with the version of that file from a Windows 10 installation image. Then just recreate the ISO image and write it back to the USB drive with a tool like Rufus. Now, something of note, if you're installing Windows 11 on a machine that doesn't utilize a UEFI firmware, you'll need to change the partition scheme to MBR so that the target system can change to BIOS. Otherwise, you won't be able to boot from the drive. Now in my case, I got the exact same error message even after doing this, which is because the machine also lacks support for secure boot, which this build also requires. So it's back to my main PC again. A very simple way to fix this is to extract a Windows 10 ISO, go into the sources folder, delete install.esd, and then copy the rest of the files in the sources folder to the sources folder on your Windows 11 USB, overriding the existing ones. And that worked just fine. This also creates the added effect of the Windows 11 logo changing back to the Windows 10 logo as soon as the boot wheel starts to spin while it's loading off the installation media. But after this point, it's just a straightforward Windows 11 install. Alright everybody, so we finally made it to the out-of-box experience, and I would say this took about 15 to 20 minutes to get to this point, which is certainly longer than what you can expect on modern hardware, but again, this is an older computer. So we're going to go through the out-of-box experience here. We're going to set US as our location, and just like in the last video, I'm going to skip all of the Microsoft account stuff because I don't really feel like signing into a Microsoft account right now, but obviously it's going to really push that for you. It really wants you to sign in. What's nice though is, for those of you who saw my how to bypass signing into a Microsoft account in Windows 10 video, Microsoft, at least the last time that I checked, actually, unless you were disconnected from the internet, made you sign into a Microsoft account when you were setting up Windows 10. There was no local account option. The only way to get that option was to disconnect your machine from the internet. And then there was no other, I mean, there's obviously no way it can connect to a Microsoft account at that point, so it defaults back to making a local account. In Windows 11 here, at least in this particular build, you saw in the last video that we are able to create a local account even if we are on the network. And that's the page it should be loading right here. It should be asking us to sign into a Microsoft account. Okay, yeah, first we have to set up for, or you get to choose between personal use or set up for work or school. We'll go with personal use. There we go. So once again, we're going to click on sign in options down here. And we're going to do an offline account. So it's been renamed to an offline account, but it is, you know, the same exact thing as a local account. And now it's going to ask us for all this, you know, do you want to allow Microsoft to access your location and all this crap? We're just going to turn this all off. So this is going to go to the high screen, and it's going to set everything up and go through that initial process here. All right, so here we are, everybody, finally at the desktop. And we're just going to go through this. We're going to try to perform some basic tasks, and we'll see what kind of performance that we get, how long things take to open up, etc. So we're going to check out Task Manager and see, you know, when the system is idle, what our resource usage is like. So, all right, I'm going to right click on the taskbar because I'm so used to that. That's how it's been in like pretty much, well, not every version of Windows prior to this, but most of them. You're able to right click on the taskbar and open up Task Manager from there. So I've just pressed Control-Shift-Escape to open up Task Manager. So we still got that Windows 9X style Task Manager. Really appreciate that one, Microsoft. We're going to click on more details to get to the actual Task Manager. And you can see that, wow, we're using 100% disk usage here. This might actually be a 5400 RPM hard drive, which is obviously certainly not the the fastest hard drive out there. Let's open up dev mgmt.msc. We'll open up Device Manager. But in terms of, I mean, the CPU usage is actually pretty good. You see we're idling here. Now, of course, we just opened up Device Manager, but we're getting between, you know, 9 to 15%. Memory, though, is almost maxed out, 95%. And now, of course, with us opening up Device Manager, you can see now the animation there played perfectly, though it immediately jumps to not responding. But yeah, memory usage you can see is yeah, this is what's using most of the memory. Search. So I've opened up Microsoft Edge, which is going to be hilarious because of just how long is it going to take. You can already see that it's jumped to the top here in terms of disk usage, memory usage. It'll probably be at the top as well. Yep. And CPU usage, it's not. It's one under Task Manager. There, now it is. Of course, this being Chromium based, it's going to be an absolute memory hog. There it is. Okay, so the window's opened up, and we're just going to do a search for Crystal Disk Info. Welcome to the new Microsoft Edge. So I've typed that out. It just completely got rid of it to bring up this welcome screen here. So okay, we're gonna complete. Yeah, I'm in control, as you just like took away my control so you could show this stupid window here. Okay, let's get out of that and try this again. Oh my gosh, check that out. The page isn't responding. Of course it's not responding. I would just go directly to the website, but I forget the name of the site that Crystal Disk Info is hosted on. You know, I think I've got a copy on my network share. crystalmark.info. Okay, that's what it is. This application is not responding. We've got the old style pop-up window here. That's when you know things are going so well. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna download this on my main computer, and I can just open up a network share here. And there's the run prompt. So I've got a network share. Desktop window manager is not responding. That's a great sign. I've got like 6 minutes left on this SD card. I had like 40 minutes free when I started recording, and I thought I was going to be able to record the entire video in that time, and I'm still here trying to download a copy of Crystal Disk Info. And yeah, we're going to totally have to swap out with my other SD card at this point. This is hilarious, though. I mean, I was expecting it to be slow, but oh my gosh, I was not expecting it to be this slow. This is unusable. I mean, there is no way anyone could. I mean, you can make the argument that, like, okay, technically, like, it boots up and you can open programs, but you saw it just with Edge there. I mean, that's like the included web browser. Even downloading another web browser is going to take like 20 minutes with the amount of times the program is going to freeze. There's File Explorer finally. Okay. What is it doing now? What is this? What is this full screen window opening up? Windows security. Oh, is this this should be the login prompt, I would assume. Okay, so I've swapped SD cards. We've got an hour and a half, so plenty of time, I would think. So yeah, that Windows security prompt that was opening up in full screen was, as I suspected, the network login, and you know, like to put in your username and password for the network share. Okay, so we got this glorious outline of the window here as we're waiting for it to close. File Explorer looks like it's not responding. Yep, there you go. Looks like File Explorer has recovered from its not responding state, but it has not displayed the... No, it's back and not responding here. Oh, the window itself does not say not responding. Oh, Michael PC, there it is. Okay, I thought this was going to be a lot quicker than downloading it, but I'm kind of questioning that decision now. Okay, so somehow I triggered the desktop switcher to come up, so that's that's hilarious. Okay, I've clicked on File Explorer here. We're gonna go into Network Share. That's where I've got, and I also took the time to download WinArrow Tweaker as well, because at this point I do not want to open up Microsoft Edge again. I've pressed enter on Network Share. It's in this folder up here, working on it, and we're gonna go down to Disk Info 64. UAC should come up to authenticate. Okay, we've got part of it, we've got all of it. All right, we're gonna mouse over yes. We're gonna click yes. Watch this just fail to open and show some error message. Yeah, from what we've seen here, like I said earlier, I'm willing to bet that this is a 5400 RPM drive. At this point, honestly, I just realized I could have probably turned the machine off, flipped it over, taken out the hard drive, and that would have been faster than waiting for this freaking program to open up. But we're in the home stretch now, so I mean, I might as well just wait for the program to open. Okay. The UAC window is closed finally. We've got our desktop back. I'm looking at Task Manager over there, and we don't see Crystal Disk Info. Of course, this is not sorted by, like if we sort it by name here, we'll get the little section of user opened programs. There you go. So it hasn't even shown up in Task Manager yet. All right, you know what? Don't worry, I turned off the machine properly before taking the battery out and everything, but here's the hard drive right here. We're going to take it out, and you'll see on the back here, or on the front of the drive, on the label right up here, you see that momentous 5400.3. Now that is referring to the speed of the drive, or the RPM. This is a 5400 RPM drive. To mix things up a little bit, it's SSD time, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, we've got a Samsung A50 EVO 250 gig solid state drive. Now this is the drive from the 98 PC. I know that some people are going like, what on earth are you doing? We told you to leave that in the 98 PC according to that poll. I know, but I'm going to make an exception right now because I want to see how this machine performs with a solid state drive. I am going to keep the RAM and the processor exactly the same. We're going to remove this drive from the caddy here. The SSD is going in there. And we're gonna screw that down. And there we go, it's in. So we're gonna put this screw on. Now, obviously, since I pulled this drive from the 98 PC, it's got Windows 98 on it, so I've booted it up. It errored out booting up into normal mode, but I've booted up into safe mode here. And yeah, so we've got Windows 98 on here right now. So there you go. Here's once again Windows 98 running off of an SSD. Oh, and by the way, now we will get insane performance because we don't have the bottleneck that we had in that previous video. This is really spiraling into a completely different video now. This is not about Windows 98, so we are going to not spend the rest of the video talking about it. Alright, so to make you not have to sit through another Windows 11 install, I went ahead and cloned the contents of the 5400 RPM drive over to the solid state drive. So now we've got a copy of Windows 11 on this drive, so we're going to put it back into the machine. The battery has to go back in, and we should be able to boot up to a fully installed copy of Windows 11 without any issues. Let's see if that's actually the case. Okay, so we're online, we're all set up. Let's open up Task Manager, and oh yeah, that's all ready. Yeah, just as I thought. So now you can see disk usage is down to about 24% currently. So let's go ahead and open up File Explorer here, and we'll see. Oh yeah, way faster. We'll open up, let's open up the Microsoft Store, and we'll open up Edge. You can see things are opening up way faster. The system's overall just way more responsive. We'll go to google.com here, and yeah, there we go. So it goes to show you how much, just by replacing your 5400 RPM hard drive with an SSD, what that can do for your system performance-wise. This is like night and day. I mean, you guys saw how slow it was before. Like I said, it's like night and day. I mean, obviously, if we open up Task Manager here again, you can see that, yeah, we've got, you know, CPU usage and memory usage are pretty high. You know, 36%, of course, now the CPU usage is dropping there. But memory, it's using over 75% of the memory currently, but again, we've only got 1 gig of RAM in here, so what can you expect? We're going to move on with some of the things that I wanted to do, and one of those things is activating this copy of Windows 11 with a Windows 10 Pro product key so we can make some changes to the start menu down here and move the start menu and taskbar to the left side of the screen. I saw some people mention they were able to use a Windows 10 Pro product key just fine. So we're going to try that out right here. So we are on the internet. We're going to activate Windows now. We will change product key. Now this is a genuine Windows 10 key that I purchased actually yesterday for this video. We've got it in. We'll hit next and we'll activate Windows. Windows is activated. There we go. All right, so we're closed out of that. And now we can go, let's just go to home here, personalization, taskbar alignments. We'll change that to left. There you go. So if you were curious, it is possible to set the taskbar to the left side, as I mentioned in the last video. We can also change the color scheme to dark mode. So we'll set that. And there we go. So the way I usually set up my computer personally, my personal install of Windows 10 is if we go into colors here, choose your color. I think you can change this to, yeah, custom. So your default, so I usually have the default Windows mode is dark and the default app mode is light. So you still get the lighter, you know, windows like when you open up File Explorer. Because if you have it set to dark, everything is, you know, File Explorer is, which to be honest does look really cool, but yeah, I much prefer the dark taskbar, dark start menu. Yeah, there you go. We still have all these, which by the way, I am not a huge fan, and I think that like most people are not a huge fan of having all these applications in here, even if they're not pre-installed. It's just annoying. Like if you don't use Spotify, or if you don't use like the Netflix app on Windows 10, which I don't need this, but it's annoying. Now again, the app is not installed. If I want to install Spotify, I can click it here, but it's just annoying that they've got this in here like by default. But at least they're not, at least it appears they're not like auto-installing apps like they did with Windows 10. One other thing we can do, since I already have it on my network share, we might as well, right? I've got a copy of WinArrow Tweaker. This is just kind of for the fun of it at this point, just kind of do some messing around with WinArrow Tweaker. And if you have no idea what this program is, I did a video on it. You can check it out up in the cards. Essentially, it's it just gives you all sorts of customization options for Windows. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. It's super cool, super convenient. So here we are. So what's interesting is if you notice under OS here, WinArrow Tweaker identifies the OS as Windows 10 Insider Preview 64-bit. Now, we saw this in the last video where there was that Windows update available, but it identified the OS that it was for as Windows 10 version next. One thing we can do is enable the Windows 10X boot animation, which I believe is actually pretty cool. So it says one of the Windows 10X new features is a new boot animation with a WinUI 3 spinning circle instead of the Windows 8 style dots. Okay, so we will, let's reboot now and check that out. There it is, check it out. Yeah, that looks pretty cool, actually. Oh, you can see it there as well. That's really all that I've got for you guys today. This is just to show you guys that it is absolutely possible to install Windows 11, at least this particular build, on quote-unquote unsupported hardware.